you have very strong role as a musician. You have very active role as a producer as well. Can you walk me through the process and the moments which defined in your mind that you want to be a musician, or you want to be a producer, and just understanding and realizing that these roles are applicable to your personality and your qualities, and so on. I'm just interested to hear your perspective and whether you think that there are any defining moments that were like, you were like, oh, this is what I'm good at. This is what I want to do.
Yes, I definitely know the moment that I wanted to play guitar in a
Mm-hmm.
band. I think I was 15 years old, and I had gone with a family member to a concert at a venue that was out of town, like an hour outside of Wilmington. And I was a kid. I was basically, I think I was in eighth or ninth grade, one of the two. So I was young, and I had never really played guitar, but I was interested in music because I liked punk rock and just classic rock and such from growing up with my parents' record collection. And then I got into skateboarding. So there came the punk rock and kind of the metal vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Went and saw this band. It was this band called the Marvelous Three. Their singer songwriter, his name was Butch Walker. You may have heard of him. He's a mega producer, and he started this trio called the Marvelous Three back in like the late 90s. Well, they put on this show and it just blew me away. And I remember looking as a 15-year-old kid at the stage going, this is what I was like, I want to be up there. Like, that's what I want to do. And so I got a guitar the following Christmas. Thank you, Mom and Dad. And then I just became obsessed with it, tying back into my personality. And it kind of took over my life, and I just never stopped. And then, I moved through high school and college, played with multiple bands, started to get hired gigs as a guitarist. I got a big hired gig with a band out of Wilmington called He Is Legend, kind of a heavy metal band or a heavy rock band. Wonderful people, great music, killer guitar playing. And after, I think it was like 2006, 2007, we came off of the road and we all had a pretty good payout. So I was like, I think I want to get into recording. And so I remember getting on eBay and spending an egregious amount of money at the time to get like a very low level Pro Tools setup.
Yeah.
And I remember when it all arrived at my apartment, I was like, how do I hook this all up? This is pre-YouTube, pre-smartphone. So there was very limited education when it came to engineering. So I kind of started from the ground up and just hit up all these local bands. And I was like, let me record you for free. I want to do it. And that's kind of how it started. And I just fell into it and it became my life. And now this is what I do.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, great, man. It's wonderful.
And obviously many people are having this dream, especially tying this up to the memory that you've mentioned when you watched the band and you dreamt of being there and doing it yourself. And obviously many people are having this dream, but not many people are getting to a level where this becomes reality. So I'm interested to hear what's the comparison in terms of your expectations, in terms of how you imagine it to be, and what it was when it happened for you. Right? Was the emotion that you've experienced when you got to the stage for the first time and being this, guitar player on stage, was this similar to what you have imagined it to be when you were younger and when you watched this show?
Yeah, as a young kid, you're always kind of full of ego and, you've got a bunch of angst and kind of like, fuck you energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least I did for my punk rock, upbringing and classic rock roots. And I remember, maybe the first couple of years as a guitar player and getting decently good pretty fast. I remember being a little egotistical, and I'm sure that some of my early bandmates would probably say the same. But I figured out really quick that is not the way. And I started to basically become more humble and try to serve other people, and I think that when I figured out that's when things started to get doors started to open for me. Now that being said, I think I went and saw that show as a 15-year-old kid, and by the time I was 18, I was on that same stage at the same venue playing with my band. And I remember looking out into it was a House of Blues, so big venue, massive venue for us as high schoolers. But I remember looking out into the crowd, and I was like, this is what I've been working for, and it's a very gratifying feeling. And it was just something that I was, a dream come true scenario, but it was like, there's more out there. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep going. And so, obviously it was a wonderful feeling, but I think it lit more of a fire in me to continue to do it,
Let's see.
And I'm grateful for everyone and anyone who's helped contribute to not just my career, but, my music, and hopefully, it's not something that comes across as being vain or egotistical. I want people to enjoy it, and I want to ultimately affect people with the music that I create, either as a producer or an artist. I want it to affect them emotionally. Like, that's my number one goal, is to elicit emotion out of you, the listener, not to be the best guitar player, not to have the best snare sound. I want to make you feel something. And because that's why I got into music, and that's why I am still into music, is because of how it makes me feel.
That's absolutely fantastic. And I, again, can so strongly relate with that, because, I've always said that I've fallen in love with music because of its concept, where you can affect positively other people by expressing yourself, and it's such a, it's such a magical concept for me. So beautiful, the idea of just making everything around you better through who you are as a person, and just creating something beautiful out of it. So
there's a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with that too, especially if you're on a bigger stage. Not like literally, but you have a wider audience. If you have a wide audience, I mean, you can affect how they feel based upon your next single or your next song, if they love your band. And I mean, there's some responsibility there, and there's also a lot of power and energy and just vibe, like there's something magical about creation and seeing your creation come to life, and then having people not just respond to it, but respond to it in a positive way, and see how it affects their lives in a positive way. Anytime somebody would reach out to me and be like, dude, this song saved my life or made me feel this way or that way, like it's a wonderful feeling for sure. And it makes me feel like I've made the right decisions in my life to get where I'm at.
Absolutely. Like, were you always like naturally perceptive of this concept in terms of, music and its essence and its effect on people? Or was there like a moment or, something that influenced you understanding this?
So was there a moment where I was, kind of ties back into whenever I was younger. Whenever I was younger, there was still that like egotistical component to it. Where you're kind of more or less, I want to play the best solo or whatever. But I think I probably figured that out whenever I was maybe in college. Like that's when I was like, okay, it's not just about me. It's not just about our band. It's about the community. It's about everyone working together. Rising tides raise all the ships. And instead of working against, your other, rival bands in town, or instead of trying to tear each other down and discredit, I think the way is to build up and to edify and to give credit.
That's such a great thing to say, and such a great thought to endorse, because as I'm sure you're aware as well, I think one of the biggest problems in the music scene in general is that, many bands and artists are trying to just compare themselves to each other and trying to be better than, each other, and a sort of, creating all of this competition between themselves, rather than just understanding that it's about the same thing. It's about just creating good content and creating good music and affecting people positively, as you said.
Yeah, absolutely.